Good looking. Welcome back to the Cosmic Call Out.
Hey.
Hey. I'm so hyped. When I tell you, I feel like when we're done recording, we're done editing, I'm like waiting for the launch day, right? Like the whole time, I'm like, I just want to get back in my seat. And I have a new background today. You girl was getting sick of the wallpaper. I couldn't stare at it. I felt like I was only staring at that. And I love looking at me. So the fact that I was staring at that and not looking at me was a problem. Was not working. But this at least is a little nicer to look at if you're sick of looking at me, which
She's
sometimes people
cute.
can be.
I
She's
like
cute.
her.
I had a little casualty, got a little hot glue burn, but made her myself. Can you believe?
I
I
believe.
there was not a lot of tarot card tapestries out there. Everything else was kind of boring, and I figured I got a duplicate of one of these little bad boys. And I never use these oracle cards, which are based on the book The Four Agreements, by Don Miguel Ruiz. Highly recommend. Great little book series by him. So I thought it was just a nice little on-brand background for me. So just wanted to shout myself out for that because that was a lot of work yesterday. You know what I mean? Gotta celebrate ourselves
Yes,
sometimes.
yes, yes.
But enough about that. We are going to dive into everything. But first, let me at least introduce myself. Hi, my name is Chloe, and this is my bestie, iconic, slay the house down boots co-host, Victoria.
Hey.
Pose. um, and today we're going to start off and we're going to spin the wheel like we normally do. We're going to start doing a thing where in advance we release for you guys. You guys can see the topic of the week, get excited about it, form your own conversations so that way we can all regroup and watch on Saturday together as we go into it. So let me screen record my wheel so y'all can see it crystal clear. And I will have Victoria count me down in just a hot second, but I think we're ready to go. So, Victoria, count me down, Queen.
Three, two, one.
Okay, let's see. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I have to hold it up. Huh.
Let's go.
Ethics. Right and
Ethics.
wrong. What's right and what's wrong,
Okay. Do
generally speaking.
okay,
So,
so
do we want, because some of these topics I feel like can be dual topics where we can spin again, or they can be enough for their own whole episode. Do we want to spin again for funsies and see what the other one is, and we can either combine or choose or save for another day kind of thing?
yeah.
Okay, we'll spin again. Let's see what the other one is. So we have ethics, right and wrong, and choices. They kind of go
Okay.
together.
Okay.
So I think that that
Perfect.
is a good little combo of things.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
Yeah.
All right,
Dun,
so
dun, dun, dun.
do, do, do. So I want to start off by doing the definition for ethics, just so we kind of like get a little gauge on it. Um,
Baseline.
right. So like the societal definition for ethics would have to be the moral principles to guide behavior or conduct of an activity. Um, so along those lines, like ethics and morals obviously connect. But we also looked up the definition for morals just to give you guys a better idea. Morals would be more of like a person's sense of right or wrong versus ethics is like the societal views of right or wrong, basically.
Like
Um,
collective versus individual, essentially.
yeah, like or like it says over here like guide how to act within a community.
Okay.
So that's why I say like within society, like societal norms, all that. So,
Gotcha.
um, we pulled a few like principles of what ethics would be. Number one being integrity. It says like quality of being honest, sincere. I put being true to yourself because your integrity can be like your own moral integrity, like how you are as an individual, like how I am with like my friends versus my family, like versus, outsiders in the world. Like it could be just what's the
Do you
word
feel
that
like
I'm looking for?
integrity and authenticity go together?
Yeah. yeah,
Okay.
you can be like like being authentic to yourself. That goes within itself, stuff like that.
Not
Um,
needing anything outside of you to determine how you feel,
yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Hmm.
It also can be like doing the right thing even when no one's watching. That's like another
Mm.
way to define
Mm-hmm.
integrity. So I like that as well. Um, I also have responsibility written down over here,
Mm-hmm.
which is accountability for your actions or, things that are being expected of you. That could be like responsibility within the family,
Yeah,
friends,
taking care of yourself
taking
and
care of
others.
yourself,
Sure.
or, being held accountable for things that you do. If you do something wrong, you're going to be held accountable for it. If you do something right, hopefully you get the credit that you deserve.
Well, yeah, you'll probably get called out positively or negatively one way or
Yeah,
another by somebody. It will be
exactly.
reflected back to you in some sort, I
Exactly.
feel like. Yeah.
And then I also wrote down conscience. I never know how to say that, but conscience.
Like,
English is
are
hard.
English, well, there's like consciousness, which is like
Yeah.
being aware,
Or
and then
like
there's your conscience.
yeah,
Yeah,
conscience.
like, that's like I feel like your conscience is like if something in you is saying like, hey, that's probably not the right. It almost
Yeah.
feels like intuition sometimes as well. It's like
Yeah.
you might not like the outcome of that. Maybe don't treat that person like that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
your inner world, but like it still relates to consciousness, which is that inner awareness. So same thing,
Yeah.
as
It
far as I'm
basically that's
concerned.
what it says. It's like feeling about an obligation to do the right thing or be good. So like, yeah.
Yeah, that's like
That's
moral compass, even, if
mm-hmm.
you will. Mm.
And then I've got honesty written down. I just want to go through these real quick and then we can
Yeah, these are
continue
like
like talking about
associated
them.
definitions,
Yeah.
I feel like. Yeah, okay.
Um,
Cool.
so we have honesty, which is like fairness, trustworthiness, sincerity, value, which I love this one because when I searched up the definition, it tied in perfectly with last week's topic. Um, but it says importance, worth, person's principles, standards of behavior, or one's judgment of what is important in life. So I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Spirit has a theme for our first couple episodes, and it's to wake people up,
Yes.
call them
Good
out.
morning. Wake
Good
up.
morning. Hello. As
Rise and
Jeffree
shine.
Star says, hello, how are ya? Very much like, what are you doing?
Um,
Rise and shine.
yeah. So yeah, that is like just the base knowledge of what
General,
ethics would be.
sure.
Our
The
choices,
umbrella.
right, under
Umbrella.
my umbrella. But yeah, so choices is act of selecting, making a decision when faced with possibilities. Um, so
And
with
choices, decisions, same thing.
choices, decisions, that
Oh, I,
all,
I do I do have something I want to note here and shout out to my friend Manny because I love Manny for this. When we were in college, okay, we were fashion majors and sometimes when we didn't agree with what someone chose to wear, okay, instead of being really judgy and shady in the outward mean way, he coined this little term where we would look at someone and he would just be like, choices. I have used that since
yeah,
then because it is such a way to point out that you don't like something without being mean. That's a choice.
yeah,
That's a that's a choice you made today.
yeah. You woke up
That was
today
your
and made that choice.
that was your choice. But I love it because it's so like neutral, but the
hmm
shade behind it,
Yeah.
my ego loves it. It's so funny. So now, like, if I see someone who's like wearing like two really crazy prints that in my mind I would never do,
hmm
I'd be like, that's a choice. Not my
Yeah.
choice. That wouldn't be my choice, but
Mhm.
that's your choice.
That's your
So shout
choice.
out to Manny because choices, I told him to make it on a t-shirt because I'd wear that for the rest of my life. Choices.
But yeah,
Make
so
good choices.
make good choices, guys. Come on, this is what was it that we said on like the third episode was like this is literally like preschool 101. Make good
Yeah,
choices.
treat others the way you want to be treated. But if someone said to
Exactly.
me, Chloe, that was like a choice, I'd be like, yeah, it was my choice and I'm happy with my choice. It's standing
Mm-hmm.
behind your decisions. The question is to ask yourself, are you happy with your own choice? Really. Most of the time, people will answer no to that, probably, because their choice wasn't probably their own. They
Yeah.
were influenced by someone else.
Yeah. I wrote down here too, like, although we are free to choose, we can't choose the consequences of that choice.
Tea.
Yeah, T.
Hot tea. Steaming
No,
hot tea.
literally.
Scalding tea.
Oh man. But yeah, like ethics can be like it's really just like right or wrong in the sense of like
I don't know. Give me an example.
yeah, like if I do something illegal, I'm going to jail. But I might
Wrong.
right, like it's wrong, right. But like my like ethics, my mental ethics, whatever, might not be the same as others. And that's okay, but it's like
I mean, yeah.
we were kind of just I don't know, we were kind of just conditioned in this society to like no, it's like
Yeah, to
rules, it's
follow the rules.
unspoken rules, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, like
I,
there's
I
obviously no law, but like it's
Well, let's take driving, for instance, okay? I joke with my dad about this a lot. He's like, you should have gone the speed limit. And I was like, I feel like the speed limit is like a
a
suggestion.
suggestion.
Like a five over. Like, what's it really gonna do? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But if I'm like 25 over, okay, like that's really not right because then it could be a very real potential harm to
Hmm.
somebody else going that speed in that area, right? There
Yeah.
are things created like this for a good reason. There are things that are illegal in certain states that I don't think should be illegal in certain states, if you know what I'm saying. So like I think that what society has deemed
Yeah.
like there's some I've seen like some really stupid laws in other states and like maybe while you're talking I'll look it up. But like I heard one once that was like you can't like bring your kangaroo to the mall or not like that here, but it was something along like something so like who would even do that they made a law like that? You know what I mean?
That's the
And there are
thing.
laws like that.
Yeah.
So it's like to me like what's wrong with that? you know, as long as it's well behaved, what's the problem? So I think
Yeah.
it's like understanding that someone viewing something as an absolute black or white can
Hmm.
be gray or subjective to other people. So it's just understanding like where that falls in morality, right? I could sit here and be like, yeah, like I think punching 10 people in the face in a row is not bad. But someone else might be like, yeah, but that's like really bad.
But
And it's
like a
like, but if
cop
I'm
might be like,
convinced
that's assault.
Right, right. Sorry, Glenn is freaking out over there, guys. My attention, he's like zooming. But like, by the way, I don't agree with violence. So let me just put that out there. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to punch a bunch of people in the face. But my point to that is that there's a general understanding of what's
Hmm.
majority harmful for most. There's a reason why there are these
Yeah.
rules in place. And if you don't follow those rules or those morals or ethics, so to speak, just know there's going to be a consequence for that,
Hmm.
whether it's through a legal system or whether karma comes around. And we'll
Hmm.
go into that later. But it's understanding that there's really only right or wrong in one's own perception of what is right and wrong, I
It
feel
is
like.
it is how you perceive things. I mean, the entire world is how you perceive things, really.
Yeah, you are the world perceiving it through your eyes
Hmm.
and contributing to a global thing, I
Yeah.
feel like. So, yeah, T,
T.
consequence. What you
Yeah.
get is what you give, honey.
No, absolutely yes.
Yeah. So what else goes into this? Do you have any other notes of general like themes?
General themes? No, I mean integrity is a big theme. Um,
Yeah.
that's like something that we can dive into a little
Like yeah,
deeper.
like wholeness and personal truth and being
Hmm.
honest with others. I think that's an interesting topic is kind of truth and honesty in
Yeah.
regards to ethics and morals, and what's right and wrong. Like I feel like people say the right thing to do is be honest. But like, yes, I agree with that to some degree. I think being honest with yourself is
Hmm.
probably the right thing to do. But it's that weird line of like being honest with somebody else. If it hurts them,
Yeah, you kind of,
sometimes, yeah, they might not want to hear it, but like they might be glad to have the honesty, even if they don't like the answer. It's like, I think people have trouble with this line a lot in life.
it's also like, are they willing to receive the honesty?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's like the you don't know if they're willing to like if you want to tell someone something
Like
and
you can't handle the truth.
right. But I mean, it's not even like maybe they're just not ready for it at the moment.
But like, who am I to decide that you're not ready for something?
Exactly.
All I
Exactly.
can do is speak my truth.
Mhm.
And my brother and I had a conversation like this because he was like, well, Chloe, there's like things that are like objectively true. Like if I saw you with my own eyes go and like steal a mailbox or something, like that's the truth. That's what happened. But
Mhm.
if in my mind I'm like, I didn't do that, and I'm convinced I didn't do that,
Oh my God,
then,
no.
and if no one else saw it, what's the truth?
Yeah.
This is what the justice system, why it exists and why it's hard, why we have juries, why we have people who need evidence and people,
Mhm.
and when you're accusing people and I don't know all the like terms, but you get what I'm saying. Like there's a reason
Yeah.
why it's so complex, and it's because people can't sit here and lie through their teeth because they're either convinced that it is the truth or it is their truth, and it's always like his side, her side, and the truth.
Well, you're
Because
innocent until proven guilty.
yeah, which
That's how it
like
goes.
yeah, and to me, like, I think that there's value in that because I do think a lot of people will accuse people of things that they
Mhm.
didn't do. Like, that happens. But I
Yeah.
think that if people, but ultimately, and this might be a controversial take, if you find yourself in a situation where you're in court for something, I don't believe that anyone who ends up in that position is truly innocent. And the reason I say that is because maybe you didn't commit the crime or the wrong thing single-handedly, right?
Mhm.
But you at some point made the choice, probably, to maybe associate with people who you knew were doing things that you felt were wrong, but continued to do it. There was a misaligned action from a choice
Mhm.
somewhere. Because how do you end up in that position if you didn't have any that's avoiding accountability in some regard. I'm not saying they did it for certain for surezies, but
Yeah.
at some point you made decisions that got you into this consequence. Even if it's not you going to hard jail, you are in a predicament that you don't like because you manifested that for yourself in some way or another. We have to take accountability for the fact that you kind of co-created that experience for yourself. Sorry, not sorry. Like you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's completely excluding people that were like arrested without actually doing absolutely
Yes.
anything. It was like
Oh my
wrong
gosh.
description, whatever, like
Yes, sometimes
profiling. Yeah.
there are things outside your control that happen
Hmm.
that create unintentional
Yeah.
consequence for something that wasn't really your fault. But I do believe to some degree, for the majority, we have, I think it's easy to be like, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. But it's like, yeah, but like you probably did have a role to play to some degree. Even if it's like you going against your better judgment and going somewhere that your gut was telling you not to go to avoid a potential, because
Hmm.
your inner yeah, your inner being tells you. So if you're not listening to that, that's your fault.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in middle school, I can tell
To
this
some
little story.
degree.
I can tell this little story actually in this one.
Oh, do
In
I know this?
I think so.
Okay.
In middle school, I went to Walmart with my friends, right?
I do know this.
Yeah. And well, I used to go to Walmart a lot. My parents would always tell me not to go to Walmart. Walmart was right next to my middle school, but my parents just like, what does a bunch of middle schoolers have to be going to Walmart for? Um,
What
and I
else
did.
is there to do sometimes?
I mean, it's because
Just to shop.
my dad would take a couple hours to pick me up after school, so I had nothing better to do. But
There's a lot
at
worse
that
things you could
time,
be doing.
right, at that time, I was supposed to be like that specific day. I was supposed to be in my play rehearsals. We were doing Aladdin.
You
Completely.
ditched. Naughty,
I did,
naughty.
but it was because I needed to go get my stuff for Spirit Week, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my friends were going, whatever. And while we're at Walmart, they start low key, taking some stuff. And I'm watching them, but I had a really, really bad feeling in my stomach. Like I was just like, can you guys put it back? Like I was telling them, put it back, please. Like I have a really bad feeling right now.
I want to interrupt you because I want to ask a question.
What's up?
Before you started saying to them, hey guys, no, like, let's not, did you have any part of you that was like, I gotta go because they're doing this?
I did, but I also didn't want to like leave them behind because
That's the problem.
I know, I was so
That's the
scared.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Is you had something in you telling you, "Hey, let's protect
And I
me.
ignored
Let's
it.
look out for me." And
Yeah.
you ignored it, and
Mhm.
that's what got you into that situation. You
Yeah.
can say, "Oh, like they peer pressure me." No, you
No, they did
ignored.
not. No, they did
No, I'm just
not.
saying, like,
Yeah.
hypothetically, like, it's
Yeah.
easy to say that, like, there were outside influences, but really, like, spirit told you to get
Mhm.
out of that. You could have just let them, but you bought into this limiting belief that you didn't want to, like,
I like
ruin that friendship when clearly they're not good friends because they're
so
doing that with you.
I just felt like something bad was gonna happen and I didn't want to go through it alone, which was so dumb. Like I should have just been like, bye guys. But I was like, they're my friends, you're in
You have
middle
to learn that
school.
lesson that it's not
Yeah.
worth trying to help
And
somebody else or keep something that's not worth it,
yeah.
you know?
Well, long story short, they were
Run,
caught as soon
scrubs,
as
yeah.
we went try to leave Walmart. They were caught. We were caught because I was with them. And it was
Guilty by
bad.
association,
Yeah,
honey.
no, they literally were like, you're, an accomplice. And I'm like, no, I was telling them not
Dun, dun,
to.
dun.
Yeah, it was not a great moment at all. It was not a great moment. Very scary. I do not wish that upon anyone. That was terrifying. But yeah, that was like me ignoring my own, you know, moral choices, moral thoughts, ethics,
Your
telling me like, hey,
intuition,
yeah, my
yes.
intuition was like screaming at me like, girl, go.
Believe
Like, what are you
this.
doing?
Well, and that, like, and the reason I asked that was because that kind of affirms exactly what I'm saying, is that
Yeah.
we do have a moment where we choose
I mean,
something.
I feel like most people probably have that moment where their intuition is like, or like their gut feeling is like, oh,
Yeah,
like
but
what
if you
you,
don't know what that sounds like and you're so used to listening to your mind or other
dude,
people and that's how you've been
discomfort.
conditioned,
It
yeah, like
feels like discomfort.
yeah, but I
Mhm.
think that part of our lesson in this life is to learn that that feeling is usually never wrong.
Yeah, your heart drops to
And
your
we,
ass and you're like,
yes, and that's a major cue. And
mhm.
then you have this moment where after everything is said is done, you're angry at yourself because you should have listened to that. But
Yeah.
you're almost fighting against yourself by being mad at yourself for not hearing it. Well,
Mhm.
now, once I learned that, I'm like, oh, I know how clear that sounds because it's just so subtle. It's like a, hey girl, do you really want to be hanging out with these people? It doesn't feel like you're
No.
really with them. And like, and then I can just be like, oh, you know what, sis, higher self, damn, you right, let's dip.
Right.
But it
Yeah.
takes a while to maybe awaken to what that sounds like within yourself, to let that inner guide actually guide you, because otherwise you end up in situations like that.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's like I start to get like really anxious or like irritable and I want to go.
Because I feel like your inner being is like, girl, why are you choosing to stay
Why are you
here
doing
when you know
this?
damn well you shouldn't be sitting here right
Why?
now?
Why?
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
like when you're sitting there, like the negative emotion you're feeling is because you're betraying yourself.
You are living without, yeah, like out of alignment.
Yeah, well, you're making decisions from a place of lack or fear,
Mm-hmm.
and so which is normal. We have to know what that feels like to know what an aligned, true, authentic decision feels like. So
Yeah.
you need the contrast, but at some point, I have to believe that there are people who go through so many misaligned things as a consequence of their own acting from that energy
Mm-hmm.
that eventually, guys, you're just choosing to do that still because you know your higher self knows there's another option. You stay choosing what's not
Yeah.
serving you. And at that point, I can't really feel all that bad for you because now I know that you know what that
Yeah, I mean
other
there
thing sounds like.
it's like a coming out of a place of like comfort, like you're in a comfort zone knowing that you're making those bad decisions, but
Yeah,
it's comfortable, it's familiar to you.
I know, but and I can have empathy for that because I've been there and I know you've been there and I know so many people feel like it's easier to stay stuck in the things that don't serve them. But at
Hmm.
some point, I think maybe along my self-love journey, I made the choice to say,
Hmm.
F that. I don't care if it's more comfortable. It's
Yeah.
ruining myself and my life.
Hmm.
So at what point do you have to choose better for yourself because you deserve better for yourself and you're the only one who can make those choices for yourself? Like at what point do you just have to
Exactly.
wake up? And some people never do. Some people will choose that comfort because they don't realize how much better it is to make those aligned choices, but it's because they haven't healed that part of them that feels like they need other people to like them or fit in, or they have to
Hmm.
do this to get attention because they're lacking attention. You know, there's always like an underlying subconscious thing driving
Yeah.
this behavior that until you do that inner work to recognize that, reprogram and release those things, then you're going to continue to make those choices. But girl, I'm glad I learned my lesson.
I feel like I continue to learn my lesson.
Oh, yeah.
You
It
know,
comes up all
I
the time.
my frontal lobe finally developed, so I had a lot of revelations this year.
We love 25.
We
But
love
I feel like when
25.
I turned 22, I turned 25. So I think mine started real early.
Well, the part of me is like 80 years old, and then the other, like, there's
Okay.
still that little childish part of me where, like, finally she reached 25 and she's like, hey, let's stop doing this stuff. You're kind of hurting yourself.
I would love 80-year-old Victoria just to read me to filth. And I know it will happen eventually, but I just know that like you're such a stern girl when it comes to like you effed up or
Yeah.
something like that, that like I know that like 80-year-old you is going to be ruthless. And so I just think it'll be very funny to watch you sip your tea and just be like,
Tea, girl,
Dexter.
it's gonna be wine. What are you talking about? 80?
No,
She's
your
not slowing
tea is
down.
spiked,
Oh,
obviously.
obviously, please. Come on.
You're like, I remember
I remember back in my day.
when Gabe is going to be like, Chloe, can you get her to shut up, please?
Yeah, no, he's gonna be so tired of me, but it's okay. He still will love me.
He's going to be doing some wild stuff too at that point, I feel
Oh
like,
no, I know
anyway.
for a fact.
Oh, you
But
know what? I didn't even think about that. That just sorry, really side note. Um, Victoria's hubby like mad tall, okay? And you know how like older people shrink? I don't think I've ever seen a mad tall old person. So how is he gonna look when he's old? Is he gonna
oh,
stay that tall? That's wild.
I don't know. I have no
He might
idea.
shrink a few inches, but I've really realized that I've never seen someone his height be that tall.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't think that he's gonna shrink that much. Hopefully not. I don't, but I'm gonna shrink, so let's see.
well, he'll just end up at my height.
Probably. I'll be like 5'7" or something like that.
Oh, that's not my height.
Oop, oop.
Ah,
Like, oh,
but
couldn't be me. Oh, I'm sorry.
anyway, not us still planning and getting off on the side tangents.
It's
It's okay. I
okay.
think that was
But
a fun little debrief, but let's roll it back a little bit because I know that
well,
we don't want to take too long up in here today.
so ethics in a spiritual side, because I wrote this down as
Okay.
well, actually,
Yeah. Give it to me.
um, comes more from like love and
Mm,
compassion
yeah.
for others,
Mm,
versus like right or like strict right or wrong. I feel like ethics spiritually is more like, yeah, you made that choice, but it's okay, you'll learn
mm.
from it eventually. Like it's okay. Like it's like
Yeah, it's
I'll
a
give you a
little more like
hug.
it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, it kind of goes with this like aligned decision making
Mhm.
thing, right? And I also feel like it relates to, listen, the people who made these rules in society,
Mhm.
right? These ethics, the collective people who were like, yeah, let's write an ethics textbook on what's right and wrong. Like I took an ethics class in college. Like these people in the past who like came up with this,
Yeah.
okay? I'm sorry, definitely have not honored what they're telling other people to do to every degree in the first place. B are absolutely no different than me. Okay. So I'm not going to base my choices off of what other people are telling me to do.
Hmm.
Best
Yeah.
believe. Okay. So to bring it into the spiritual side of things, which I feel like is the true ethics, morality, value, higher wisdom, right and wrong, loving, to bring it down to this physical world, is it a choice that your spirit, God, source, energy, higher self, creator that lives within you, if which is just pure unconditional love, if that energy would make that choice, then that's the choice you make. And
Yeah.
that's called alignment, right?
Hmm.
So if I see someone struggling and I go to kick them while they're down, that is not in alignment with source God
No.
energy. Okay. Me going to pick them up, loving them, maybe despite knowing why they're down there in the first place, could have been their fault entirely. Someone
Hmm.
else could have delivered karma from them doing a negative thing. But me, I love people the way I love me, the way God loves other people. So, like, to the best of my ability, I'm going to show up for other people as long as it doesn't hurt me. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, like, I have to take care of me first to even show up for other people. So I feel
Right.
like that is the true. I want people to listen to their intuitive value in ethics, do things for the greater good, harm to none
Hmm.
kind of thing. Because I feel like that's where we find the most peace and freedom and joy and love and prosperity. And you never, quote unquote, get in trouble or get served all that negative, bad karma, so to speak. You might get some, but
Yeah.
it's not going to be really bad because the seeds that you're sowing are not going to produce bad fruit.
Yeah. I just feel like if everyone made the decision and the choice to, be nice, be
Love,
kind to one another, yeah, like love each
be our
other.
true selves, that,
Yeah.
like, we all want to be loved and supported and
Hmm.
taken care of, and to cast hate or negativity or take from other people instead of give to other people. Just know if
At
you
the end of the
take,
day,
someone's
right.
going to take from you.
At the end of the day, I feel like we're all just a bunch of like wounded people just walking around. Like the grumpy ones, the cranky ones, and I get
Clueless,
grumpy. Yeah, we're just
hot mess. No one effing knows. But
yeah.
like when the key, I feel like, to learning and understanding life
Mhm.
is to understand yourself, because you are life.
Yeah.
You are your own life. So if you can just make decisions that feel good to you, then you're doing it right.
Yeah.
I
Wake
can't
up
control if,
wake up and choose love versus violence. Like we like to make a meme out of
yeah, like,
that.
when has fighting fire with fire ever worked? Please tell me. It
Never.
just makes a bigger fire.
Yeah.
Like, if you're sitting here telling me that, yeah, if I fight this person, I'm right because they're fighting other people, it's like, no, you're doing the same thing as them, bro. That makes you a
Mhm.
hypocrite, is what that means.
Yeah.
You're not even going to try to do anything else. So it's like, it's, I think it's just really asking yourself, in being mindful before you do anything, how am I feeling? Because if you're not feeling good, the
Mm.
outcome of whatever you're about to do, if you don't feel good when you're doing it, is not going to be good.
Mhm.
That's just law of attraction. You receive what you are
Yeah.
energetically. So, but that's where victim mentality and toxic behaviors and judgment, like we've talked about before, like, if your ego is like, woe is me, the world is against me, you're not going to maybe realize fully. But it's possible for everyone to choose love and care and taking care of yourself and others. And you'll feel better, you'll receive better experiences.
Yeah.
It just shifts. And
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't you want to be in that space if you can choose to, I guess. So I feel like that's kind of where I feel on right and wrong, is it's such a personal experience of what feels good to you. Now, if it feels good to you to go F somebody up, I mean,
Be my
okay,
guest, I guess.
but I'm just letting you know it's a temporary feel good and you're not going to feel good after you do
Mhm.
it. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking longevity, alignment, feeling good, things getting better and better for me, positive momentum, if you
Mhm.
will. So, but this is definitely an interesting conversation, because I do think how one person views ethics, right or wrong, how they choose their own choices, and how the collective infringes their views on other people. It could be a 5-part podcast,
No, yeah,
probably.
this could be like a five
Yeah.
hour,
But we're
longer than
running
the
out of time, so
Titanic,
we
right?
can't even do that today.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I think that ethics, choices, all that, it really differentiates between each person, and their own societal conditioning and how they want to view the world. But at the end of the day, we just choose, it's not even choose right, but just choose love, choose compassion, choose
Yeah,
empathy for each other because we're all going through it. We're all, day to day
doing our
going,
best.
yeah, we're just,
We hope this conversation between Victoria and I shed light and have every one of our listeners ask themselves if they're just happy
mm-hmm,
and what they're choosing and ask themselves what their values are and
yeah,
just start a conversation because I think it's important and it matters and that's the goal I feel like for all of our episodes is
yeah.
let's just talk about things that I feel like people don't really talk about that could help us all.
Are
So,
you being true to yourself?
probs not.
Probs not. Yeah, if you're not feeling good, you're definitely not.
Period.
But
Say it
yeah,
louder for the people in the back.
are you?
Are you
Are you?
together with yourself?
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and this beautiful little topics that we talk about. I hope that it
Yeah.
resonates with you guys and you guys are able to look within.
Not the ending look within every time. We just need to have a little rainbow with SpongeBob saying look within like every at the end of every episode.
Imagination. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Cosmic Call Out. And we'll catch you guys next week, Saturdays at 11:11. And make sure to look at our description below. We have our Instagram, our all of our social medias, honestly.
Our TikTok, our
Yes,
Reddit, our
all
YouTube,
of
our
them.
Spotify, have my
And
website down there.
yes,
All
ma'am.
the all,
And if
all the
you
good.
guys ever want a tarot reading, go ahead and look down below because Chloe's website is
If you need
down
help
below.
getting from here to there and
Do we
closing
need
that gap,
help
I
with our
got you.
ethics? Our ethics, guys. Do we need that?
Come
But
see me. Love you.
love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Toodaloo.
Bye.